Like many people, I started playing RuneScape many years ago. It all started back in grade school, and never have I had a video game create such a strong addiction as RuneScape did at the time. I spent every moment I could on my family's ancient gateway PC, even going as far as unplugging our family's house phone so our DSL internet wouldn't disconnect me every time we got a phone call on our landline. I wasn't having my brother's girlfriend interrupt my lobster fishing as I slowly walked from Draenor to Karamja to fish at the docks, even if I was only bringing in about 2k of gold per trip. Back then though, I didn't care about efficiency. It was just plain fun. One of my fondest memories was one of my first days playing RuneScape when I had leveled my mining and smithing to the point of being able to make full sets of bronze armor. I would go to the Varrock mine, compete with dozens of other players to fill my inventory with 14 copper and 14 tin, and then walk down to Lumbridge to smelt them into 14 bronze bars. Then, slowly walk back to Varrock to smith the bars outside the West Bank. Once I had a few full sets, I would sit in the Varrock square shouting, "Selling full set of bronze armor, 200 gold pieces." And the level 5 to 10s would flock in. I had thousands of gold pieces, and eventually even worked my way up to affording a full set of mithril. Not too shabby. I even had a level 60 buy my entire stock, and I'll never forget the moment that he told me that he respected my hustle as he tossed me 5k, which was way more than what any of it was worth, but it was one of those moments in video games that will forever be ingrained in my memory. RuneScape taught me many things. I learned about capitalism, trust, betrayal, and that tin and copper make bronze. I would continue to play RuneScape for many years, well into high school, but everything changed when RuneScape 3 attacked. RuneScape 3, or also known as the Evolution of Combat, came out, and most people know how that went over. It was something no one asked for, but here it was anyway. At first I tried to find enjoyment in the new combat system and the graphics, but I struggled, and so did my friends. One by one they stopped playing, and soon it was just me, and eventually I gave up too. I kept trying to play to see if things got better, or if I would learn to like it, but I didn't, and I too would go offline permanently. Old School was eventually announced shortly after, which isn't a surprise with how poorly received the Evolution of Combat was. At first I was excited about having RuneScape back, but the idea of having to start from level 3 again made me sad, and I ultimately wouldn't join back at launch. All I could think is that I spent hundreds of hours clicking on trees. Did I really want to do that again? I did come back to RuneScape 3 once with the release of player-owned farms, as the idea of leveling farming through raising animals seemed fun, and that was actually a really fun update. I even got 99 farming then, and while I had a membership, I decided why not? I would try dipping my toes into old school RuneScape. I enjoyed it at first, choosing the level as a skiller, but I played only for a little bit before drifting away again. Until recently. I picked up Old School again back in November of 2024. About 3 days prior to the release of the newest Leagues event, Raging Echoes. I didn't really know much about Leagues, but I had watched some videos on it previously. Specifically Jimmy, who has been one of my favorite YouTubers to have his second monitor content. I thought at first I probably wouldn't enjoy Leagues, but man was I wrong. For those of you that aren't familiar with Leagues, it's like a separate set of servers where you start a fresh level 3 character that levels separate from your main character, while still using the same login and username. But the catch is there are these relics, which are like perks that give you items, passive effects, and massive experience boosts that go up to 16 times the amount of XP you earn normally. And if you know anything about RuneScape, you've probably heard how grind heavy it can be, but this mode changes that. You also get region locked and have to complete tasks which range from simple objectives like visiting everyone's favorite potato tree to fighting bosses. And as you complete these tasks, you get points that build up to the next tier of relics, and eventually allows you to unlock new areas. Players actually get insanely deep into theory crafting their routes in terms of what areas they will pick and what tasks they will complete in what order. The subreddit the night before Leagues was wild, with people having drawn maps and huge spreadsheets of where to go and what to do to maximize their efficiency. But I didn't really care about any of that, and I just wanted to see what the game mode was like because again, I didn't think I would like it. But after playing Leagues, it unlocked something in my brain that I didn't even know was there. And it was like this switch where I suddenly understood why people were theory crafting and drawing maps. And in a few hours, I was making plans in my head about where to go and what to do. For my first relic, I picked Power Miner. This relic gives you the equivalent of the best pickaxe in the game, with an increased success rate for mining of 50% if you fail your swing, which means you are getting ore insanely quickly, and it allows you to mine rocks 4 times, and automatically deposits the ore into your bank, and smelts them into ingots. Within an hour of playing, I had leveled my mining and smithing more than I had on both my original characters that exist in RuneScape 3 and my skiller combined, and I never knew how much my brain loved to see numbers go up. I was able to level up my thieving to 99 in a single sitting, gaining over 5k XP in a single interaction. And this dopamine rush of completing tasks and power leveling would keep me fixated on the game all day and for weeks to come. And as bigger YouTubers released videos on their path through Leagues, I would learn new methods, and at one point, because of Settled, I had ended up with 2 billion gold from high alking. But as I continued to play through Leagues, I started to realize something as the thought occurred to me that this mode isn't permanent. I am missing out on so much content by being a skiller in Old School, and that this game isn't necessarily the game I played when I was a child. Old School had evolved so far beyond the game I remember. Seeing Prifendos and how convenient the city was and all the extra things I could do, or fighting bosses I never thought I would fight, such as Shock Jod, the big guy in the fight pits. I got a lava cape for the first time, which wasn't a challenge because with the ranged relics, you kind of just melt anything that dared step into range of you. But it still was such an awesome moment of looking at my character and seeing that amazing gif flow down my cape. Then I sacrificed it for 200 points for a task. I didn't want that shit anyway. This game mode breathed such a breath of fresh air into RuneScape for me that I decided I didn't want to be a skiller anymore once Leagues was over. Now don't get me wrong, skilling is fun. Combat in RuneScape often can simplify leveling for many skills, or at least the acquisition of materials that helps you level, and I like the challenge of limitation. I often will play many games by going as far as I can without spending skill points, because I love to see how far I can push myself with the least amount of resources. And in RuneScape, that was my way of playing since I lost my original character to the conversion of RuneScape 3. I started completing a quest I didn't have to on my Leagues character, such as Vampire Slayer, and remembering how awesome this quest felt to me as a child, but there were parts of it I didn't even remember, and it felt like a rediscovery. It felt familiar, but somehow still new. I then kept going on to other quests and going to places like Lunar Isle and Nadazat, which unlocked other fond memories. And at these moments, I realized I no longer wanted to be a skiller on my main account, so I've decided that's going to change. But Old School has changed a lot since 2007. There has been dozens of updates that have added new items, new quests, new regions, new bosses, and so much more. This isn't the game I played as a child anymore, and I want to experience it all again. So as of today, I'm no longer going to be a skiller, and I'm going to start leveling combat. I want to do all the quests and see the new stories. I want to be able to raid with friends, and I want to see the areas I only remember vaguely from my childhood. Leagues has convinced me that all this content is worth playing again, and that's what I plan to do. Now my skiller stats aren't anything to brag about, but I am still level 3, so we need to change that. But first, I need some new armor. Cue the montage. Now that I have my armor, it's time to find a worthy adversary to level up with. And I know just the creature. Now that I've moved beyond being a skiller, a whole new world of possibilities has opened up for me in RuneScape. I'm beyond excited to explore a side of the game that I've only experienced through the lens of nostalgia. Thanks to Leagues, I've fallen back in love with RuneScape and rediscovered the magic that drew me in the first place. My journey is just beginning as I dive into leveling up and tackling quests, and I'd love to bring you all along for the adventure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more RuneScape content in the future. As a now former skiller, I've only scratched the surface of what this game has to offer, and I can't wait to uncover all the things I've forgotten about over time. I'm going to go slay some goblins now, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.